marriagefamilylife.net.
We live in a day when America's families are under attack like never before.
Buddy Smith, Senior Vice President of the American Family Association.
The war against biblical principles rages on numerous fronts. The internet, Hollywood, Washington, D.C., America's corporate boardrooms, and the list goes on. At American Family Association, we're committed to stand against
ああ、いいストレッチだよ。
だから月水金
This is an impossible task without God's favor and
11時からだから10時に家を出て
you for being faithful
でまあ
to give
休みやったらいいね
to our calls for activism.
で最後の
The home front is crucial to what we do.
シャワー浴びるだけのさ
We praise
力を
faithfulness. And may He give us
取っておけば
ahead as we
シャワー浴びれるでしょ帰りに無理しないで
Sometimes you see a win, a glimpse of God in this broken world. Preborn rejoices in the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Preborn's mission is to love and help women in unplanned pregnancies by offering them the truth to help them make the right choice by providing free ultrasounds. You see, when an expectant mom hears her baby's heartbeat and sees the image of her baby on ultrasound, she's seeing a life created in God's image, and it's a divine connection.
And I got to hear and see my baby for the first time. Hearing the heartbeat made me cry, and it was certain that I was going to keep my baby forever.
To learn more about Preborn's life-saving work, go to preborn.com. That's preborn.com, or dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 and say baby. All gifts are tax deductible. Your love can save a life.
Back to the Awakening with Bishop E.W. Jackson on American Family Radio.
We're back. The number is 888-589-8840. Let's get back to your calls. Let's go to Harrison in Texas. Harrison, welcome.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I appreciate you letting me on this show. I drive around for a living, so I saw this billboard that was referencing Dylan Mulvaney, and it said LOL Crybabies, and Budweiser, they made that billboard. I thought it was so offensive because they're calling people who believe in God and live a holy life crybabies. This is basically war, and they're starting to turn the tide to their side.
Well, Harrison, thank you for the call. They lost $6 billion, and they've had to fire, they claim they suspended, or they've taken a leave of absence, 3 people responsible for this decision. So if anybody's crying, I'm sure it's them. But you're right, we're not crying. We're just disgusted with a company pushing this stuff on our culture. And we've had it. And people basically voted with their dollars. And so they're the ones who better be crying, because they're going to keep losing money if they keep insulting the American people. Thank you for the call, Harrison. Let's go to Archie in Texas. Archie, welcome.
Good morning. Here's a suggestion for your theme on giving back to God. Deuteronomy 28, at the dinner table, out loud, every financial quarter or more often, with special attention to verse 34, which just says, "He will drive you mad." That's all I got.
All right, Archie. Well, listen, that's a great, Deuteronomy 28 is a great text, which lays out the different results you get by obeying God versus rebelling against Him. Couldn't recommend a better text. Let's go to Jonathan in Ohio. Jonathan, welcome.
Hey, Bishop, how you doing, sir?
Great, Jonathan. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for taking the call. I wanted to talk about real briefly the key word that you mentioned before the first break, or the 1:30 break, instability. And what comes to mind is James 1:8, where it says that a double-minded or two-souled man is unstable in all of his ways. And Bishop, the J.B. Phillips translation says it this way, that a man of divided loyalty will produce instability at every turn. And this is what we saw on hyper sensitivity when Barack Obama got elected, we saw a man of divided loyalty. And since then, it has only increased. And now what we see is taking on the whole culture where we have a people who have divided loyalty and is continuing to produce instability at every turn. You can't have disregard for the Constitution without having disdain for the people that it was created to govern.
Wow, Jonathan, very, very well, eloquently said. And you are absolutely right, because these people are, they have no real loyalty. They betrayed our country, and they betrayed God. And their real loyalty is to themselves and their Marxist and socialist and godless agenda. And yet they want to keep claiming, oh, no. We're the ones concerned about America. So, man, that was powerfully said. Thank you for the call, Jonathan. Okay. You've also been waiting patiently. Darlene in Virginia, welcome.
Hello, Bishop. I just wanted to say hello from Virginia, where I actually saw you in New Kent when you were running for office.
Well, wonderful, Darlene. Good to hear from you.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to say I think Fox has just shot themselves in the foot. They got rid of Dan Bongino, who was another person who was very highly rated in their customer base. And now Tucker, I believe Tucker said some things that they found very disturbing in regard to transgenders and how taking God out of school has caused a lot of issues. He wasn't saying anything about he believed in God, but he was making the point that this is a problem. And we already know that.
You know, Darlene, thank you for the call, and thank you for bringing up Dan Bongino, who, as far as I am concerned, is an American hero. And this man served in the police department, served in the Secret Service, and is really a great patriot. And you're right, both Tucker Carlson and Dan Bongino are gone. Thank you for the call, Darlene. I'll say quickly, folks, 11 years ago, I had a friend of mine say to me, he was running a major conservative online magazine. Fox News is going to change because the father's turning things over to the sons, and the sons want Fox News to be more liberal. They want Fox to be more liberal. And everybody heard that. It was at a meeting when he said it, and everybody heard that and went, okay. He was right. He was absolutely right. Thank you for the call. Let's go to, you've been waiting patiently as well, Bill in Tennessee. Bill, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Bishop. Bishop, when do you think black people will come to the realization that voting Democrat doesn't get them anything? Biden is spending millions upon millions in that proxy war overseas, and not $1 has he said would go to these American cities that need reinforcement of police, need infrastructure, more teacher pay. We can go down the list. Not $1 has he offered to the black community. So when are black people going to wake up?
Well, Bill, thank you for the call. Thank you for the question. I don't know when, but I just believe that there is a tipping point that's coming soon, because they're going so far. You didn't even mention, they're spending millions to promote the homosexual agenda and same-sex marriage. They're spending millions to advance the atheist agenda. They're spending millions in this country to advance the transgender agenda. And you're right, in the meantime, most black people are going to these government schools that are leaving them functionally illiterate, leaving them at the bottom of the barrel in terms of their educational experience, which means the school to prison pipeline is being built by the Democrat Party. So you're right. That's the $1 million question, isn't it? When are people going to wake up? But I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep sounding the alarm. Let's put it that way. Let's go to George in North Dakota. George, welcome.
Hi, Bishop. Thanks for taking my call. Let me make this quick. I have a lot to say. I've heard this term on your program many times and in others called the gay agenda. And to my understanding, that means gay and transsexual people wanting to be accepted, included, and wanting the same rights as everyone else. But it seems to have, in right-wing circles, this amorphous meaning that could be anything depending on.
Okay, George, sorry about that. That wasn't us. Okay.
In the back.
Okay. George, listen, thank you for the call. You're coming in and out, so we're not cutting you off, George. But let me first of all say you never heard the word gay agenda here, the term gay agenda here on my program, because I don't use the word gay. I don't talk about it that way. For me, it's the SPCG movement, the sexual perversion, child grooming movement. Now, you might hear people refer to the LGBTQ, or occasionally I will use that in quoting others. But for me, the agenda is to get people convinced that homosexuality is not sin, but it's good. When it's not, it's sin. That trying to move from one man to from a man to a woman or a woman to a man is not sin and rebellion against God. It's good. It ought to be affirmed. And then wanting the whole society to bend and contort and twist itself in order to accommodate this. So you got to say the right pronouns, and you got to call people by the right name, and all of that. And you got children need to be shown this stuff because they might be the wrong identity, you know. Yeah, it's a sexual perversion, child grooming agenda trying to change the society, George. So just so you know, that's what Bishop E.W. Jackson believes, okay? Thank you for the call, though, my friend. Oh, my goodness. Let's see if we can get a couple more calls in here. In the meantime, let's go to Boyce in Arizona. Boyce, welcome.
Arkansas, but that's close.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? That's my mistake. You're right. It says Arkansas.
That's okay. Hey, enjoy your show, and probably like every one of your listeners, we could probably spend the whole show speaking about what's going on in our country. But amen to what Jonathan mentioned to you a little bit earlier. I think that if you take a look at President Biden and basically the D.C. Democrats, I mean, what they're doing to our nation is on the borderline of treason, in my opinion. It's just unbelievable how we become so godless from our nation's capital and in a country that was founded with the hand of God on our founding fathers. And it's very, very disheartening to see what's going on. I could talk for hours. I was going to talk to you about environmental, but that's the environmental nonsense that we're going through. But I just want to thank you for what you do and your listeners, and we got to win this fight 2024.
And we're going to. Thank you for the call, Boyce. Let's see if I can get one more in. Let's go to Jared in New Mexico. Jared, welcome.
Welcome. Yes, sir. How are you today?
Bless, Jared. You're the last one up. You got about 30 seconds. Go for it.
Yes, sir. We homeschool here in New Mexico, and I'm wondering if there's a curriculum or some way to teach our children how to be apologetic to kind of combat this ideology that is facing them right in the face and challenging them in ways that I've never been challenged.
Wow, Jared, that's a great question. I'll tell you what, email me at ewjackson@ewjackson.com. Ask for that curriculum. I've got several sources I can point you to. That's going to do it for today, folks. Well, we are stable because our faith is in God through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And He is the rock that will never be moved. So you stand up, step up, speak up, refuse to back up. Because we cannot be defeated if we will not quit, because we are on God's side.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
KTXG Greenville, Dallas.
Happening around us. That's why Christians need to stand strong on family values and morality. Hi, I'm Ray Rooney, editor of The Stand, a blog from the American Family Association. Association. The Stand has timely, carefully written articles on relevant cultural issues that you can quickly forward to others. Visit afa.net/The Stand.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Mr. Q. Two high-profile cable news personalities are out of a job today. Fox News announced they and Tucker Carlson were parting ways, and CNN announced they had fired Don Lemon. Congressional lawmakers and their families are facing scrutiny after a new report says some of them sold stocks during the panic triggered by March's bank collapses. Grady Trimble has the story at the Capitol.
The children of Congressman Jared Moskowitz of Florida, through a financial advisor, sold shares of Seacoast Banking Corporation worth between $65,000 and $150,000, according to a report from Capital Trades. A spokesperson for Moskowitz tells the New York Times he made the trades before a congressional briefing on the banking crisis. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, a New York Republican, bought shares in the regional bank that took over Signature Bank amid the turmoil.
Secretary of State Anthony Blinken ordered all U.S. Embassy staff in Khartoum, Sudan to evacuate over the weekend amid ongoing fighting between the country's armed forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Blinken notes not all evacuation efforts have gone smoothly.
Some of them have encountered problems, including robbery, looting, that kind of thing.
A lawsuit is filed this morning in Fort Lauderdale by a woman who claims a cruise line did not properly store her husband's corpse. Evan Brown reports from Broward County, Florida.
Marilyn Jones is taking celebrity cruises to court, saying they ruined the chances of her husband having an open casket funeral because they failed to preserve his dead body. Robert Jones died of a heart attack while the couple of 55 years were cruising aboard the Celebrity Equinox, but instead of storing his corpse in the ship's morgue, they left him in a food service walk-in cooler not kept cool enough, and the body bloated and discolored. She's now seeking $1 million in damages. In Broward County, Florida, Evan Brown, Fox News.
There is a push for states and hospitals to allow for and provide the gender manipulation of minors, but not all doctors are on board. Chris Woodward has more.
Talking about gender manipulation on the Washington Watch radio program, Dr. Quentin Van Meter, former president of the American College of Pediatricians, said there is no way an adolescent can wrap their head around things such as infertility.
No surgical procedure has been developed to create functioning sexual organs of the opposite sex that work in the way that brings normal sexual function.
Even so, a new video from Project Veritas reportedly shows doctors talking about seeing patients at young ages.
We do have patients who are starting as young as 8, 9.
Defenders of gender manipulation may tell you that no one is being rushed into anything, but it would appear that some medical professionals are open to that idea. Here's one patient recalling a situation with a doctor.
I had a very brief, 15 to 30 minute appointment with her, wherein she told me that I was a boy, and that very same day I started testosterone.
Dr. Jennifer Bowens of the Family Research Council was not surprised to hear that story.
This is what we're hearing over and over again, is a fast track onto whether it be puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, or surgical procedures.
Some states have moved to ban the gender manipulation of minors. Others are leaning in that direction. Still, lawsuits are expected, and cases could play out for months, if not years, without a Supreme Court ruling on the matter.
This could be the biggest week so far for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy as the House plans to vote on raising the debt ceiling.
It's a massive win if he is able to pass a debt ceiling bill this week. If not, that could send an ominous sign to the markets about the ability of Congress to act.
I cannot imagine someone in our conference that would want to go along with Biden's reckless spending. This is responsible. This is something that we have sat down for months, that everybody's had input in.
And if McCarthy stumbles, it shows he can't pass his own bill. It's all about the math. McCarthy can only lose 5 of his own members and still pass the bill.
Chad Pergram reporting. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Q.
Too busy to catch your favorite shows on the radio?
Have no fear, because the AFR app is here. Download the app to have access to live broadcast, music streaming, as well as each podcast. Whether you're at work, at home, or on the go, it's easy to listen to AFR.
The AFR app is available not only for Apple and Android users, but also on Amazon Alexa and Roku.
Download the AFR app today at afr.net. We inform.
Religious freedom is about people of faith being able to live out their faith, live out their convictions, no matter where they are.
We equip.
This is a battle of worldviews.
And we activate.
We also rejoice in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope.
This is At the Core on American Family Radio.
And good Monday, everyone. Fred Jackson sitting in for Walker today on this a busy Monday. And, it's all part of what we cover here each day. It really is spiritual warfare that's going on in our country today. And I keep going back to what happened in Virginia a few years ago when parents found out what was going on in our schools. Now, it's been going on for a long time because the left basically has controlled school boards, and a lot of what is happening with regards to in Republican states in particular right now is that we're finding out what was on library shelves. We're finding out that guys who say they're girls are going into girls' washrooms, all of those sorts of things. And so the battle has been on ever since those parents in Virginia found that out, and it's been spreading across the country. And parents, conservatives in general, Christians, all part of the movement to say, wait a minute, maybe we better check out what's going on in the schools in our state. And we have state legislators now that are starting to move to protect our kids from the filth and garbage that's been going on in our schools. And Mississippi is one of those states. And a guy that you may be familiar with, Walker Wildman. He's usually here, but he's somewhere else today. He's down in Jackson, the capital of Mississippi, where legislators in this state are starting to take action, Walker. Welcome to your program, sir.
Hey, Fred. Good to be welcome on my own show. That's a vote of confidence, in my opinion. Hey, we're down in Jackson today, Jackson, Mississippi. We've got a few bill signing ceremonies we're going to. And there's really two big things that we worked on here in Mississippi. And for our audience in Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, and around the country, asking themselves, what matters? Why does it matter to me what's going on in Mississippi? Well, if you've noticed in recent years, what happens in Mississippi really sets the stage for what happens in other states around the country, including the Dobbs decision at the Supreme Court. So here we are. The first bill that we're going to be signing with the Governor Tate Reeves today has to do with library databases. And for those who don't know, these library databases are used all around the state at various public schools and libraries around the country. And there's been loopholes in ways for